Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing r/MaliciousCompliance. Hope you enjoy. Hey there, got to get my first taste of sweet malicious compliance yesterday and I'm a share it with you fine people. Obligatory statement of being on mobile. So I work in an industrial setting consolidating waste. I'm a team leader for one of the crews that work in the primary building. Now, being a team lead, I have keys to get into certain places and can drive fork. Now even though it's not my job, sometimes the supervisor, who I'll use JA for his name, wink wink, for one of the other buildings asked me to get things for his workers. Also, because I drove fork, JA will ask me to jump on one quickly to help him out. It's never quick. Even though technically I don't have to do these and could refuse, I often comply because why not? Until yesterday. Background. It's been bloody cold and on Monday my crew was saying the heater isn't working. JA has just been saying it's on and not dealing with it all week. He's supposed to be the one to draw up work orders for such things, as they must be authorised by a supervisor. We aren't allowed to just go to maintenance. So Thursday the heat still isn't on. We are all freezing, even with 3+ layers, and our materials are also beginning to freeze, causing us to not be able to consolidate. I had enough of JA dodging us, so I went straight to maintenance, and told them what was going on. They came and agreed the heat wasn't on, and just this once, drafted the paperwork themselves as this was kinda necessary. Word got back to JA about me, still needed a signature, and he calls me to his office. He starts chewing me out about how I disrespected him by not going through him. I tried to say that I've been going on about the heat for days and he didn't do anything about it. Then he said the magical words. It's not your job, it's mine. You need to do your effing job and stop whining about the heat. I had it then. So I gave him a very sarcastic yes sir and a salute and left the office. He wrote me up, but the union got it torn up by the end of the day. Now, I spent all that night brewing. I was still mad about it on Friday. Well, sure enough, he sent one of the guys to me to open a lock, and that's when it hit me. It's JA's job to do that. I was doing it out of courtesy. I just put my hands up and say, it ain't my job, go get JA. Supervisors and leads can't just give keys, they have to go themselves. I explain why to the guy, and he just laughs and walks back. 5 minutes later, I hear JA on the radio calling me outside. I meet him and he is fuming. He goes off a little on what the big idea is. I parrot to him those magical words. It's your job, not mine. I'm just doing my job. He stands there just staring angrily, shakes his hands and mutters whatever. He then asks me to go grab a lift because he needs some pallets shifted. Again, I refuse and parrot. Well, I guess that did it because he turned a delightful shade of red. That began an immediate attempt of him trying to get me fired for insubordination or remove me as a lead. The union defends me, saying it really isn't my job. Union wins, I'm still lead, and now I have the image of his red face to keep me warm this weekend. Dress code additions? Talk to my father about that. This was way back in middle school. I'm 35 now, but I hope this counts. Also, on mobile, yada yada. Back in 8th grade, our school district enacted a new dress code. This included boys not being allowed to wear shorts in South Texas. Nothing to do with the story, but what the fuck. No shorts in 100+ degree weather? Mind you, the district and teachers were very proud of this new dress code and would often give children detention for failing one of the 10 items that was emblazoned on the backs of our student handbooks. I didn't want any trouble, so I followed along. One day I wore a button-up shirt over a normal t-shirt and was instructed by our librarian I had to tuck it in. Mind you, this was not in the dress code in any way. I made it look like I was tucking it in and kept walking. Later that day I passed by with it untucked again and she says it needs to be tucked in again. I said no, it's not in the dress code. As respectfully as I could and I was instructed to go to the assistant principal's office immediately. I went. He was going to suspend me for a week for talking back to a teacher and going against the dress code. I again patted my case that it was not mentioned at all in the dress code. He threatened to call my father. This is where he fucked up. My dad will reinforce the hell out of punishments if they are warranted, but he will tear someone asunder if they are not. He called my father at my behest. He informed my dad that I was going to be suspended for repeated breaches of dress code and talking back to a teacher. He asked to speak with me and was put on speakerphone. I then informed him about the situation and I stated it wasn't in the code again. He asked how I knew. I then pulled out my student handbook and proceeded to read the entire dress code word for word. There was no mention of tucking in, button-up shirts, not one word. My dad then proceeded to flay into the AP into a verbal tirade that could only be described as biblical. While still on speaker, he stopped to take a breath after a moment and said I should get back to class. The AP nods, and I leave while still hearing the decimation coming from my father. I walked past the librarian again with my shirt untucked and smiled. TLDR, if you're going to enforce a code, make sure it's actually in the code. Soft drinks and melting androids. A few years ago, I worked in a bank. One normal day, then I get a call to my desk from a client that wished to know why the bank were sending her letters about some outstanding bank fees, that according to her shouldn't be so because her account is only receiving her salary from a popular brand of soft drinks where she worked. I did the usual checks, name, account number, etc. I also checked if her account was really a salary account. Me, did you make any deposits? Her, I don't remember. Me, how about this $700 transfer from your mother? Her, oh that, I remember now. I did it to pay my aunt. Me, there is also some charges from your debit card? Her, yes, sometimes I went shopping with that card. Then I explained to her that the deposit alone would make her account lose its salary account status and was a normal checking account. After hearing that, she asked me how much was the outstanding fees. Me, I can't tell you that over the phone. Her, I'll be there tomorrow. On the next day, I couldn't believe my eyes. I spotted a woman with a huge bag with said soft drink brand on it. It was her. When it was her turn, I did the checks again. I also noticed that she didn't recognize me from the phone call the day before. And then when I asked about the deposits and charges, she denied everything. Me, did you make any deposits? Her, no. Me, there's also some charges on your debit card. Her, I never use my debit card. Then I explained to her the procedure of disputing those fees, and it was necessary to get all statements from her account since the opening. Me, are you sure about that? Her, yes. Me, what about the $700 from your mother to pay your aunt? She freezes in place and looks at me with glassy eyes. At this point, if she was an android, there would be smoke coming out of her ears and her necklace would be blinking. Her, I want the statements. Me, the bank will supply all statements up to 5 years for free, but after that it's $5 per month. Her, I want the statements. Me, it's all statements from 1994 up until now, which is 2010. Her, I want the statements. Me, after 5 years it'll be $5 per month. Her, I want the statements. Me, you're going to be charged for over 10 years in statements. Her, I want the statements. Me, it'll be over $600 in statements. Her, I want the statements. Me, are you sure? Her, I want the statements. I write up a receipt for the statements and send her to the cashier for payment. She complies, and then she comes back. Her, this is an outrage. Why did I have to pay to see how much I owed? Me, you didn't. You paid for the statements you insisted on to see how much you owed in fees. It's free. I turned my monitor to her and pressed a key that put the value on the screen. The value she owed? $85. Well, that's it for Malicious Compliance for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I've been trying to improve my editing skills and I'm putting a lot of work into this one. I've also brushed up on my thumbnail skills by watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and I have been trying out a new microphone and audio software. So yeah, please let me know if you can notice any improvements, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Thank you for watching. Bye!